This is Trend Following Radio, where great thinking comes alive. Nobel Prize winners, legendary traders, best-selling authors, and the pros that know what drive us irrational human beings. I am your host, Michael Covel. Not filtered, raw, honest. That's my passion. "2016 picks. Come on, I know some of you are sitting out there waiting right now. Waiting for my 2016 picks. Where you should put your money for 2016 and beyond. I hope you're not thinking like that. But if you are thinking like that, perhaps my comments today will sway you just a little bit away from the insanity of New Year picks. First, a little perspective from outside the investing world. My mother is in her 70s. She's in really damn good shape. Works out with a trainer. I don't think there's any doubt about it that she puts to shame in terms of physique. But she's been working her butt off for years to stay in really good shape. The other day, she showed me a piece of paper called the Resolution Challenge for 2016. Here are the challenge rules. Number 1, goal is to complete 100 days of continuous daily activity. That's easy enough. It's concrete. 100 days of continuous activity. We don't know what the outcome will be, but the process is set in motion. It's concrete. Number 2, a minimum of 30 minutes of one cardio activity every day. Again, concrete as hell. No ambiguity. That's the rule. Number 3, you can make up a missed day by completing 2 workouts in one day. Makeups must be separated by 1 hour to count as 2 workouts. Number 4, activity can be done anywhere, club, outside pool, etc. Number 5, the daily reporting is an honor code. And there's an entry fee of $20. That is just a nice, concrete way to start 2016. Absolutely no bullshit. That's how you should think about your investments. Rules that you can stick to or not stick to. If you don't stick to the rules, you know what's going to happen. Not something good. But there's no telling anybody that if you get the shake weight or the ab roller, or if you take this vitamin or that vitamin, or you eat this particular food, or you go on this particular diet. None of that. Very concrete. Let me take it back to the main thrust of where I want to go today. 2016 stock picks. Now, I typically don't want to talk about this stuff. I've talked about it till I'm blue in the face. Hell, I get bored. But a friend of mine sent me an article the other day, a link. He said, hey, why don't you take a look at this? I think it's right up your alley for a podcast episode. Okay, so I finally got to the link. I looked at it. Headline, CNBC.com, stocks to buy and hold for 50 years. Right when you think nothing can surprise you. That headline is actually surprising. It's not even worth criticizing and saying, hey, who in their right mind can promise to buy stocks and hold them for 50 years and have that work out? Who in their right mind can make that prediction? It's not even about that. This is just about media manipulation, media selling a message, media going for eyeballs, and catering to the lowest common denominator of fear. Or that you might miss out on something. The thing that you might miss out on, these people that I'm about to play the excerpt from are so smart that they have a crystal ball where they can see 50 years into the future, and they can promise you, the millennial out there, that you'll just make a nice sum of money by following this advice. The advice is so outrageous, you're incredulous. You're like, okay, really? Let's go to the tape.
Hey, Steve, first state your pick for the next 50 years and your methodology as to why this is a good one for the long run.
Okay, so basically we're looking at what sectors are going to be around for a long time, what companies, what big name companies can we put our money in and kind of forget about for decades in this example.
Forget about your money for decades. Just think about that for a second. He says it with a straight face. He has a tie on. He has a suit on. He has a nice haircut. He probably went to a nice school. Continuing.
We're looking at growth-oriented company, and then also on the other side, maybe a dividend-oriented value company. So to start with, let's say on the value side, energy. It's going to be forever. I know oil right now is the big talk, and it's not doing very well, but it's not going away.
Oil is not doing very well. Oil has made people a freaking fortune over the course of 2014 to 2015. So this guy is already assuming the only way you can make oil money is to be long oil. Ladies and gentlemen, part of the big lie. Continuing.
With all the talk of alternatives and whatnot, oil's still king of the castle in the energy sector right now and will be for decades.
He's right. It is king. But to turn around and say that you should bet your hard-earned money off buying and holding oil for 50 years or some firm associated with oil is asinine. Absolutely asinine. Could you imagine giving your money to this individual to help you invest? Could you imagine something so ridiculously stupid? Somebody will. Continuing.
And will be for decades and decades. So
which company in the oil patch?
BP, you can get into it with a very nice dividend right now. You can get into it at a low valuation right now. And you could put it in your portfolio, leave it there for decades and know that it's going to be there being strong and not worry about day-to-day fluctuations or minute-to-minute fluctuations in oil prices.
It's going to be there being strong for decades. What the hell does strong mean? Get back to the opening of this podcast. Why did I read a fitness challenge set of rules? The rules had markers. There was deadlines. There was an objective. Oil is going to be strong for decades. Strong for decades. Could you imagine just having that come out of your mouth to make a bet on that? You're going to bet on oil being strong for decades. I'll give you an alternative. Why not bet on oil on the long side when it's going up? And why not bet on oil on the short side when it's going down? That's a hell of a lot more concrete than my friend on CNBC. Continuing.
Francine, you're picking some high flyers in this market. You're picking Facebook and Netflix for the next 50 years. Why?
Yes. I mean, if you're talking about a millennial investor who has the next 50 years to own this company, these are exciting companies. I mean, millennials like to buy companies that they know.
Well, she's out of the gate with her analysis. They are exciting companies. Two exciting companies. Does that excite you to bet your money?
Millennials like to buy companies that they know, companies that they're familiar with, that they use their products.
You use Facebook. So that means that if you're 20 years old, back up the truck and whatever money you have, you probably don't have much money. But you know what I'd recommend? She hasn't said this. You should actually back up the credit card truck. Max out your credit cards. Just max them out, right? Low interest rates. Interest rates are never going to go up, right? Hell no, right? Right? Back up the truck. Max out the credit cards. And move all the money to the center of the table and bet on Facebook because it's exciting. And when you wake up 50 years from now, damn, you'll have a nice retirement. You know what? She could be right. She could be absolutely right. Do you really want to bet like that? Do you really want to concentrate your bet on a few firms and buy and hold for 50 years because the current flavor of the day is exciting? Continuing.
So Facebook, I know we've talked about it a ton, but they're exciting and they're growing. I mean, we think that this is a blue chip company of the future.
They're growing. I can feel the excitement in her. They are growing. Back the truck up and put it all to the middle of the table and bet hard on Facebook. They're growing.
And it's not just Facebook. I mean, since Facebook started when I was in college, I've been using it ever since.
Damn, that's a fantastic reason to invest all of your money in Facebook for 50 years. I've been using it since college.
But also the acquisition of other companies such as Instagram.
Oh my God, Instagram. I could post a picture of my neighbor walking around his backyard without his pants on. And everyone gets to see it. Let's bet on that for 50 years.
Right? We're a visual generation, and they've started to monetize Instagram. I have an Instagram profile for my puppy.
An Instagram profile for her puppy. Hey, seriously. CNBC, as much as I've ragged on CNBC over the years, they still have an audience. They still put suits on and look professional. A puppy. An Instagram page for her puppy is part of the analysis as to why she thinks millennials should back the truck up and dump all of their money into Facebook and hold it for 50 years. Again, she might be right. But do you see anything wrong with that bet, that solo bet for 50 years? Continuing.
I use it daily. Right. And then also WhatsApp. They are reaching globally. I talk to my relatives in Taiwan and Oculus is a company that they bought more recently last year.
Right.
And virtual reality is huge. I mean, this industry is growing and we think it'll continue to grow. So Facebook is absolutely.
So let me get this straight. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and all I can imagine is the film Idiocracy. We're going to bet 50 years into the future on Idiocracy, that we can all instant message each other and pass photos back and forth, and there will not be any innovation in the future that could possibly cause anybody or everybody to tune out of Facebook. Because the moat is so big around them, it's impossible to compete. I'm not trying to tell you I know the fundamentals, but I am pointing out a 50-year bet. You might want to think about that.
Let me push back a little bit here. I mean, social media is just getting started, basically, in the scheme of things in the history of the world. And the same goes for streaming with Netflix. I mean, there's a distinct possibility those are just transitional industries right now that will be gone in 5 years. So are these really companies that you believe will be around for 50 years?
Finally, some CNBC sense. Bill Griffith. Props to you for asking the legitimate question. Let's listen to her answer.
Yeah, I don't think they're going anywhere. If anything, they're gaining traction. My company, kids, they're growing up on Netflix. They don't watch cable TV. We're in an age now where people want to be able to watch shows when they want to watch them. If I want to binge watch 5 episodes of Orange is the New Black, which I'm definitely guilty of doing, I'm able to do that. So the subscription model we really like. It's a steady stream of revenue, and we don't think this is going. I think if anything, cable is dying, and this is here to stay.
I mean, is this analysis that she has just put out on a major channel, is this just gut feel? Or is there science behind it? Is there math behind it? I would love to see the math behind it. That would have to be spectacular. The prediction to buy and hold Facebook for 50 years. Let me use another example. Top stock picks for 2016. Pro Michael Farr shares his best bets for the market next year, including oil stocks, healthcare, and consumer staples. He goes on to tout Chevron, gives a bunch of fundamental data. The stock is trading at 26.2 times calendar year, 16 estimated EPS with a 4.7% dividend yield. Well, that sure as hell is making the big prediction come true, right? The fact that you know all that. that almost guarantees that you know where that stock is going to go over the course of a year. But right in the middle of his fundamental data, he says, quote, "We don't have a crystal ball, but we're guessing oil prices will be higher, not lower, 3 years from now." Now, damn straight, that's pretty sweet, isn't it? He's given 3 years. He's put a number to it. But hold on. He's saying we don't have a crystal ball, but we're guessing oil prices will be higher, not lower. So no crystal ball, and he's guessing about the prices. So I guess the 3-year thing, well, that's kind of bullshit. I mean, if your opening salvo is you don't have a crystal ball, which basically means you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but you're guessing, okay, you pretty much are now confirming that this is just a game and you have no clue. But then at the very end, add the 3 years, because damn, that sounds really respectable, really knowledgeable. You've got that prediction all set in stone once you can add 3 years to it. Never mind the right hand over here that's just told you the truth, that we don't have a clue and that we're just guessing. But 3 years from now, oil will be higher. You know what? Let's assume he's right. 3 years from now, oil is higher. Does that necessarily mean Chevron is going to be higher? So instead of trading the commodity, oil, and look, as I mentioned earlier, you should trade it. If it's going up, be long. If it's going down, be short. But if you're going to trade Chevron and you have no earthly idea what it's going to do tomorrow, next week, next year, then why look to oil to trade Chevron? Why not just trade Chevron? Boy, that's an eye-opener, isn't it? Instead of complicating one's life by looking at the oil market for clues as how to trade Chevron, how about you just trade Chevron? That makes too much damn sense. That makes too much damn sense. Let's take this a step further. If you go the direction of these stock pickers that I'm ripping today, these concentrated, isolated bets, human history shows you need diversification. Not market diversification in the thousands, but you need more than one, you need more than two, you need more than three. Think about just putting all of your money into Google, Chevron, Facebook. And now you're going to sit there for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. Have you lost your mind? Have you not witnessed everything that has happened, for example, since 1995? Netscape going public in 1995. Long-term capital management blowing up in 1998. The dot-com market blowing up in 2000. The real estate crisis in the fall of 2008. Oil tanking 2014 to 2015. That's just 20 years, and I left out a lot of data points. So instead of feeling that need, that desire to control, just let go. Put together a diversified portfolio, a tracking portfolio, one that you can follow. Have rules for systematically entering and systematically exiting. Know how much you're going to bet of your limited capital on every trade. Then you can roll the dice. You can't predict what's going to happen, but you can feel comfortable with a process that puts you in place to profit. And there's a hell of a lot of evidence that that particular process will offer great results over the next 50 years. I see a time when those awake will understand how to make money in up, down, and surprise markets. Whether new trader or experienced, college student or financial advisor, protecting against a crash or just trying to make a lot of money, trend following offers everyone an answer in uncertain times. To get started immediately, send me an email, michael@covel.com. I will send you the right trend following steps to take along with my free video. But if you want to buy and hold, trust the government and trust Wall Street, this is absolutely not for you.